Alright folks, we're over here messing around again, just basic stuff. I am changing my oil. It's about time. I have another warm day here in deep December, early winter, and I need to get lubrication to my internal engine parts, and you do so by changing your oil. This right here is the oil of choice, Castro GTX for extended mileage, and a nice Bosch oil filter. The type of oil I'm using is a 10W30. This is for the 2004 Acura TSX, and it says it here on the gas cap. I'm sure it says it somewhere else on the car, but in addition to that, in your owner's manual, that should be sufficient. Alright, now, in most cars, changing your oil, or at least jacking up your car, you're gonna have notches. Let's find it here. So it's blended in. This is an extended notch here. This is going to compensate for you jacking up your car, so you're not putting it on the actual plastic. This notch right here is directly to the chassis, the metal frame of the car, so nothing's falling off or taking on unnecessary weight that it can't support. This right here again is the frame of your car. It can support its own weight. Ideally speaking, you want to have 2 points of access when you're jacking up your car, just for security measures. You don't want to use just one jack. You want to find 2 spots to jack up your car. It can be in the front, it can be on the other side over there. There should be another notch like this on the other side of the car, so you should be able to jack up both of them. Or if push comes to shove and you have those plastic rhino wraps, you can just drive up on those, and that should have more than enough space, but it should make it complicated for you to drain all your oil. Your oil needs to be flat, or flatter than the rhino ramps can provide. They have a strong angle, 25, maybe 15 degree, versus a jack or stand. The stand I have is over there. They're pretty level, and they keep it low to the ground so I can get a lot of the oil out. But then we're gonna jack this up and go under the car. Again, most cars you're looking for that this notch right here. So while you're jacking up your car, another thing is to make sure your parking brake is up. So in an extreme case scenario, if an earthquake happens, or somebody bumps your car, or somebody jumps all the way down here and hits your car, I'm pretty sure that won't prevent it from moving, but that's some measure of safety as well. So make sure your parking brake is up. Alright, so we got the car jacked up. What I usually do is I just open up the oil plug so we can get max airflow. If you're getting the bolt, if you take the bolt off before unleashing this or undoing this, it's harder for it to drain. You can drain it, but it'll be a while. So it's just letting all the air come from the bottom all the way up, so it can. It's like punting 2 holes in a can or shotgunning a beer. Let that air vent, and you get your oil pan into place. It's going to be generally in this area. We're going to see exactly where the boat is in a little bit, but that's just prepping it up. I'm also going to get my socket under this part right here, so when I get underneath here, it's conveniently available. I think it's for the TSX. I think it might be a 17. At any rate, I'm trying all of them. 17, 15, it's between those two. We got some, well, we got a lot of time. I got a lot of light. I'm not wasting the light today, I'm off. So we're gonna go on in here and get a detailed view. And like I said, before you go risking your life getting under the car with one jack, put 2 points of pressure. You got one over the location they were initiated, and then I'm squeezing another one on the frame of the car, the engine support structure. So we're getting that bad boy right here, and then I'm gonna let maybe half an inch down, so they both are holding on to the car for me. And if this one goes out, this one supports. For whatever unforeseen catastrophe, this one goes out, this one supports. If they both blow up for whatever reason, for some extreme case scenario that I just didn't plan for, then I guess we're just SOL. Now another thing you want to consider when you're on your car is you're going to be on the ground. All right, I learned this early on. You're going to put some maybe even some D-class clothing on. I got my hat on. You know, I got this old fleece. I think I've had this fleece since like 2008. But you don't want to put your new stuff on. Put something that's garbage-ish. I found this Hello Kitty blanket in the dump. No, this is not my blanket. This is not my daughter's blanket either. A lot of people are getting rid of stuff. It's Christmas time. Granted, this one's 4 years old. I found this at the dump 4 years ago. So what you using it? It's necessary unless you just want to get on the ground. You know, I think it's the lesser two evils. As you see, it's very stained out, but put something between you and the ground. All right, let's go on this bad boy. All right. So we're down under here, and yeah, let's get back a little bit. You got your protective cover, and this plastic piece is pretty much preventing rocks, any unique liquids from getting into anything sensitive. I think most importantly is the tension pulley belt in this area. Anything might come up and spark, or not necessarily spark, but scratch the belt. When that belt is compromised, the integrity goes down a lot. I've been a victim of that. But this is your bolt. It's right here. It should be, if you have a plastic guard on here, you shouldn't necessarily have to take the plastic guard off, but it should be easily accessible with the plastic shield on. And then it's just a matter of remembering which bolt links to this particular nut, and that's what we're going to find out now. And right off the jump, we have the 11/16 that fits like a charm. It should be for most drain plugs as well, but the 2000 Acura TX, the 11/16 is your guy or gal. And if you did it right your previous time, all it shouldn't take any effort at all to get that off. You don't want to over thread it. I just popped it and it's now ready to go. The engine is cold. The oil shouldn't burn you. I usually do it when my engine is warm, not scalding hot. So when I just cut off the car, no. So maybe I would usually do it 30 minutes prior to it. But I have more time to be relaxed today, and I'm doing it slow. So it's always good. Oh, so what you're doing now is you're waiting for the obvious. You're waiting for the oil to drain. I'm wiping this bolt off a little bit. You can just take this time to replace the crush washer. That's perfectly fine as well. But you're just waiting for this to drain and cleaning this up and prepping your filter. You gotta get your filter off. And we're gonna go do that after this finishes draining. But it's like watching Water evaporates. Nothing entertaining. It's just draining the oil from under your car. And it smells like gasoline. And now we're going to get the oil filter. The oil is drained for the most part. The bolt's still off. Just let it air out. But your oil filter is there. That is your oil filter. From where I'm at, my arm is going to go blindly in that area. And I'm gonna get a rag with some grip, and I'm gonna muscle it off. Lefty loosey, tighty righty. Make sure that you have your pan angled underneath it, because there's, at least in my experience, there's no clean way to get that off without spilling oil. It's horizontal. So, but I can do it with one hand. It's horizontal, so you have oil coming in this area. So there's nothing I can do personally to prevent that out. I don't have the tools to do that at all. So it's going to come down. I'm going to give it a good wipe off, and I'm going to run it. But we're going to grab that and turn it left. And if you did it your oil yourself, this shouldn't be on extremely tight, which means if you give yourself a fantastic grunt, it should move. Oh, and take your jewelry off. You probably don't want that to get messed up. I've ruined a screen protector. Fortunately, not the watch. This is a Fitbit. Take all that stuff off before you go underneath it. There is absolutely no reason as to why you need to look good changing your oil. So one more time, we're getting to that bad boy. I'm gonna try to do it on one hand so you can see it. It's turning, but as it should be, there should be some type of suction or natural bond for it being in place for that long, but it's starting to loose up. All right, there we go. But you're going to get oil somewhere that you don't want it. Just try your best. That axle is right there, so it's gonna break up the stream. And again, the engine, the back of the block is right here, so it's gonna run down and been doing oil long enough to do it with one hand comfortably. If you are learning to change your oil for the first time, just make sure you have somebody that's knowledgeable, preferably a mechanic, while you do it. So it's not that bad at all. This is what your filter looks like. This is full of oil. I'm gonna prep the new one, recycle this one, and recycle that oil. So we're in business. So this is the old filter. This is my rag. I gotta have myself a designated oil rag. And I usually put these on top of each other and get a little oil from each. So that's directly on your seal. And I put a little brand new oil in these holes, trying to prevent it from going down that hole. I don't know why. My dad told me not to do. But I don't think for the most part you want to put any gasket or anything on wet or not saturated. It's been a rule of thumb for a very long time for me. It's been serving me quite well throughout the years. And this is what my prep work looks like. I think I maybe have a fourth of oil in here. It's all taken up by these holes and the filtration process. And I'm going to reverse the process and putting this back on. Lefty loosey, tighty righty. Another basic understanding of oil is when you take that filter off, this is essentially a O-ring, a gasket of sorts. It helps with the adhesion and suction of this particular external device to your engine. If you take off your filter, make sure this piece comes with it. Alright, if you're changing your oil like you're supposed to, this should always come off. I've never set eyes on a filter that doesn't have one. That's not to say that it doesn't exist, but just make sure you're paying attention to it. I've had a friend that had, didn't necessarily take care of their car, and this didn't come off, and they were wondering why they had an oil leak. Ultimately, it led to catastrophic failure. So just make sure this comes off with it as well. So this is on, and all I'm doing is I'm hand tightening it. I don't see why it should be on any tighter than that. And it's on there pretty good. So then I wipe it off. Make sure there's no oil dripping from anywhere. It will be. It's almost inevitable. But I'm trying to prevent it from hitting the ground. That's the extent of oil that I dropped. It's that little bit right there. And that's gone. I get all that out. And the hardest part to me, personally, is removing this from under the car without spilling any oil. So good luck with that. So we are straight. All right. That's the oil right here. The oil's relatively black. It has been used. It was used for 3,500 miles. I think you can, these days, at least this car, I know I think they recommend 4,500 to 1,000, maybe to 5,000. I was raised by an old school man that does it every 3,000 miles. I can afford to do my oil every 3,000 miles. I can do my oil every 3,000 miles. This is $20 for some castor oil, and it's $6 from Rock Auto when they go on sale. So they usually have a deal, so I don't buy them and tear it in. So usually I know I'm gonna change my oil, so I buy like 6 or 7 filters at a time. And now all we're doing is we're just putting the oil in here. The TSX, make sure you look at your the amount. The TSX does not accept all 5 quarts. But this one has an oil burner. I have an oil burner. She burns oil. I don't know how, I don't know where. But this is 4.5. I think TSX, well, this is 5 quarts actually. The TSX accepts maybe, look at your manual, but 4.5 to 4. Just check your dipstick as well. Make sure you're not putting too much in. You get engine froth, and that's bad. So do yourself a favor and get yourself a funnel. It makes this part a lot easier. And we just drop it in. Again, make sure you know how much oil you're putting in, so you're not just dumping it all in and wasting oil by having to drain some of it out. And you can feel it by the weight. And then again, the bottle has measurements on the side. Once everything comes to rest, you can see how much you put in. And then in addition to that, some oil pans these days have measurements on them. The oil drain pans have measurements on them, which you're then able to measure how much oil came out of your car. So you can put exactly that right amount back in. I think this is coming up on full, just by how long I've been doing it. I'm feeling the weight of the oil. I'm gonna let this sit. And so I'm 1.5 quarts in actual car. I mean, not in the car. So it's 5 gallons, 5 quarts in a and 5 liters and 1 liter, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 quarts. I'll need at least 1 more in, but we're gonna check the dipstick so we're not guesstimating at all. And that's the dipstick, so we're looking good. I'm a half quart low. For Acuras, at least 2004 Acura TSX, you're making sure your oil line is all the way up to that upper dot, and you look good. So I'm gonna fill that up, fire it up, let the oil circulate, and that's it. That's the basic understanding of changing your oil. You can like, you can subscribe. I even got a new phone for y'all. I have a no electronic policy, no electronic left behind. I had to leave the Samsung S7. I was operating out of the Samsung S7. I don't mind anything old as long as it's functional. As you see here, she is functional, but I had to let that S7 go. I stepped up to the S10, so we got a little better video quality. I can feel it, I can hear it. But you can like, you can subscribe. This is just my video blog concerning stuff that I do to my own car. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.